Good afternoon, Your Honors. This is the case IT-0257, the prosecutor versus Vujadin Popovic.
May I have the appearances?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Peter McCloskey with Janet Stewart for the Office of the Prosecutor.
Mr. McCloskey.
Microphone, please.
Microphone, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Zoran Živanović. I am an attorney from Belgrade, assigned as lead counsel to Mr. Vujadin Popović.
Thank you, Mr. Živanović. Mr. Popović, can you hear the proceedings in language that you can understand?
Yes, I can.
If you could identify yourself with your full name and date of birth, please.
My name is Vujadin Popovic, born on the 4th of March, 1957, in the Šekovice municipality. Village Čanići, Šekovice municipality.
Thank you, Mr. Popović. Please have a seat. These proceedings are the initial appearance of Mr. Vujadin Popović pursuant to Rule 62 of the Rules of Procedure and Evidence of the International Tribunal. The indictment against the accused was confirmed about 3 years ago on the 26th of March in the year of 2002, and Mr. Popović was transferred to The Hague last week on Thursday, April 14th. Upon the transfer of the accused, this case was assigned to Trial Chamber 3 by the order of the President, although Judge Ian Bonomi, is there any problem? Now you're following us. Although Judge Ian Bonomi is to be the pre-trial judge for this case, I'm presiding over this case as a member of Trial Chamber 3. The first thing I would like to do now is to make certain that the accused understands the indictment against himself. Mr. Živanović, has your client received the indictment in his own language?
Your Honor, my client has received the indictment and he fully understands it.
Thank you, Mr. Živanović. It is the right of the accused to have the indictment read out in full in a language he understands. Mr. Živanović, does your client wish to have the indictment read out in full?
The reading of indictment is not necessary because my client knows it. Thank you.
Very well. Then the next step is entry of a plea to the charges of the indictment. The accused may enter a plea within 13 days of the initial appearances, but he may enter a plea at the time of the initial appearance, if he so wishes.
He will play today.
Very well. Mr. Popović, if you could rise and plead to each count on the indictment, which I will put to you. In entering a plea, please confine your answer to either guilty or not guilty. Count 1A charges you in relation to the events that happened in and around Srebrenica, Bratunac and Zvornik in 1995, with genocide punishable under Articles 4.3a and 7.1 of the statute of this tribunal. Mr. Popović, do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Yes, I'm clear.
Not guilty.
In the alternative to the above genocide charges, Count 1B charges you with complicity to commit genocide, punishable under Articles 4.3e and 7.1. Mr. Popović, how would you plead?
Yes, I'm clear.
Not guilty.
Count 2 charges you in relation to the same events with extermination as a crime against humanity, punishable under Articles 5b and 7.1. Mr. Popović, do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Yes, I'm clear.
Not guilty.
Third count charges you with murder as a crime against humanity, punishable under Articles 5a and 7.1. Do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Yes, I'm clear.
Not guilty.
Count 4 charges you with murder as a violation of the laws or customs of war, punishable under Articles 3 and Article 7.1. Mr. Popović, do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Yes, I'm clear.
Not guilty.
Count 5 charges you with persecutions on political, racial, and religious grounds as a crime against humanity, including murder, cruel and inhumane treatment, terrorizing the civilian population, destruction of personal property, and forcible transfer, punishable under Articles 5H and 7.1. Do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Yes, I'm clear.
Not guilty.
The count 6, the last count, charges you with forcible transfer under the category of inhumane acts as a crime against humanity, which is punishable under Articles 5.1 and 7.1. Mr. Popović, do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Yes, I'm clear.
Not guilty.
Please have a seat. I would like to ask the registrar to note that Mr. Popović has pleaded not guilty to all the counts of the indictment. Mr. McCloskey, I would like to turn to you to remind you of your duty pursuant to Rule 66A1 to make available within 30 days from now to the defense all the supporting material which accompanied the indictment when the confirmation was sought, as well as all prior statements of the accused obtained by the prosecution in a language which the accused understands.
Thank you, Your Honor. We should be able to get a complete package to the accused by the end of the week.
Thank you. Then let me now turn to the defense. Mr. Zivanovic, I am hereby informing the defense that pursuant to Rule 72A, it will have a 30-day period for filing any preliminary motions once it has received all of the supporting materials in accordance with Rule 66A1.
I'm aware of it, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Zvornik. Pre-trial judge, Judge Bonomi, will have a status conference within approximately 4 months' time from today. The parties will be informed in due course. In the meantime, pursuant to Rule 65-ter, the pre-trial judge may be assisted in the performance of his duties by the senior legal officer of the chamber. In this regard, I believe that the senior legal officer will schedule a meeting with the parties after the time period for the Rule 66A1 disclosure and before the date of next status conference in due course, in due manner. I think I've dealt with all the items I noted down for today's agenda. If there's any matter for the parties to raise, I'm ready to hear them. Mr. McCloskey.
Yes, Your Honor, just for information and for everyone, and I think I've said it before at other appearances, but it is the Office of the Prosecutor's intention to file a motion to join all of these Srebrenica accused, and at this point I can name those that are now in custody: Pandurovic, Beata, Drago Nikolic, Borovchanin, Militic, and Guerrero. And I know with the 30 days to challenge the indictment running, and many of the accused don't have lawyers yet, and whenever I sit down to type this motion up, we appear to get another accused. So I think we're almost to the end of our accused, so I hope to have this motion in soon.
That must be noted by the defense. Is there any matter defense would like to raise, Mr. Zivanovic?
Not at the moment, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Popović, apart from what is discussed so far, is there anything you'd like to raise?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Please have a seat. That concludes the proceeding for today. Hearing is adjourned.
All rise.